Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. And I'm really excited to be with you guys this week and chatting about the gift of desire. The word desire has a big charge to it for a lot of people. For some people, when you hear the word desire, it makes you lean in. And for some people, when they hear the word desire, it brings up all kinds of stuff. For some, it creates curiosity, and for some, it creates a lot of judgment. The word desire and the concept of desire have actually been given a really bad rap over the millennia. There's so many religious constructs that all of our cultures, no matter where you live in the world, have been shaped around. And in most religions, desire makes you ungodly. It makes you, a sinner to have desires. It makes you, sort of like, of the world, of the earth, of the world, but not of the spirit, And to me, one of the things that happens when we forego desire, we reject desire, we don't allow ourselves to have desire, is we cut off so much of what's actually possible for us, for our bodies, and what we can create as a living. And I think it's an energy that people tend to really kind of navigate, and like actively navigate in a way that doesn't allow you to really step into what's true for you. We have a very long history of religious indoctrination in the world in all kinds of ways. And so it's very embedded, into our cultures, into our histories, into our families, to just not desire. And so I'd like to really speak about the gift that desire can be. And, also a lot of people, I think when they hear the word desire, they think about sexual desire, which can also be a huge gift. And I'm also talking about the desire for, the desire for a greater future. That's huge. That's a huge one. And the desire for what we would like to have as our lives. And so many of us have learned over the years, over our lifetimes, over the millennia, to just really cut that off. And there's this messaging in our society that if we desire something and if we seek it, that we are self-serving. And we have to prove that we do not desire what it is that we do desire, to prove that we're good, we're worthy, that we, are not just all about ourselves, but that we're about, everybody else. And there's this thing we talk about in Access Consciousness called the kingdom of we. And the kingdom of we it includes everybody, but it actually includes you. And so many of us don't remember that the kingdom of we, it can't be we without a me. If it's not the kingdom of we that includes the me, it's the kingdom of everybody else. And I think a lot of what we see in the world today is the kingdom of everybody else or the kingdom of me, people functioning from either one of those. And most people that are seekers, they don't want to be identified as somebody who functions from the kingdom of me. And so they function from the kingdom of everybody else to the exclusion of themselves and the exclusion of what they desire. And so So let's talk about the gift that desire can be. Like what else is possible? Let's look at a different perspective with this. Because what I would say is that my sense, my perspective, the way I live is that desire is actually something that is it's healthy. It's and even healthy is kind of a funny word to use. So forget I said that because there's so much charge around that. But it's actually generative for a greater future if we allow our desire to open up futures and choices for us and include our bodies in that, include the desires of our bodies. And I mean, that's a whole huge ball of wax because the desires that our bodies have, I mean, our bodies don't actually have a point of view, so they don't inherently have desire, but what we can desire with and through our bodies is, we have to manage that and make sure that we're not, just gluttonous and, all those things and like at the whims of our body, and yet when we listen to our bodies and we don't have those judgments and we don't try to manage our bodies and we don't try to manage desire and we allow it to move as an energy in our lives, it starts to show us what it is that is available. It becomes this guiding energy in our lives with our bodies, with our businesses, with everything that we create. It becomes this guiding energy that it's amazing. And it actually is part of what is unique about each one of us is this, the things that we desire, the things that we enjoy, the things that we really thrive on. They're so unique to each one of us. And when you function from that, um, you're like moving every day and being guided by it. Like you're moving every day into this incredible space of like the future that only you can create. And if you've ever seen someone who lives a life that is really, that you can tell is really fun for them, that they enjoy, that they desire to be living. And those examples are hard to come by in the world because most people don't. And so many of us grow up with this knowing about what it is that I'm talking about here, but there's no example of anybody doing that around us. And there's also nobody encouraging us to function from that and look at that, what we desire. So it's a very sort of unique conversation and a rare one. And what would it take to change that and have more of it in the world? But if you've ever seen someone who functions, who really like gifts themselves what they desire, for me, it's very inspiring. And I definitely do my best to live in that way. And one of the things that I'm aware of is that there's always more. There's always more. And this is the beauty of this conversation is the more that your desire shows you, the more that your desire opens up for you. So what is it that you uniquely desire? That you may not even know that you desire, that if you allowed yourself to function from it, to lean into it, to move toward it, would give you the life, the living, the body, the reality, the business, everything that would just be so much fun for you, so much fun for you. And what if you could move in that direction? What if you could just start moving in that direction more so than you were yesterday? The unique piece of this that I want to, and this is going to be a quickie podcast today, but the piece that I really would like to emphasize here is that the things that we desire are an indication of where we can put our energies for creation. And they actually are also an indication of where we can put our energies for the creation of a greater future. That is a contribution to everybody. And so as you move, it's like if you allow yourself to the first step is really just even getting clear about what you desire. And that's a whole thing in and of itself. getting clear about what you desire so that you can start to, move in that direction. Because if you don't know, if you're not clear on what you desire and you think that there's something that you desire that you don't actually desire, you will never create it. This is kind of one of the energetic laws of creation, is that if we're lying to ourselves about what we would like to have, and we set out to create it, we won't we won't create it. And I would say that's like one of the coolest things. I think it's can be really frustrating for people. But it's really cool because it's kind of like this built-in mechanism of like, you won't let yourself go down a path that's not true for you. And if you've been met with a lot of frustration in your life around things that you're creating, it may be that you've not been honest with yourself about what you would like to have. And so sometimes a conversation, looking at, well, what do you actually desire, will, start to open that up even more, and get you clear on things. I know for me, like one of the things that really, like, when I was married, I my husband at the time traveled a lot for work, and we always kind of had this story in our relationship that we wanted him to not travel as much and be home more. And we kind of created it, but as soon as we created it, we actually we actually got divorced. And there was other factors than, we were just done basically with what, like, we created our kids and we were done with what we came together to do. But the funny thing is that I got into the relationship that I am in now. Like a couple years after my divorce, I met my partner, Brian, and he lives to a 2-hour flight away from me. And I was like, here I am again in a relationship with somebody that I can't live with, like, full time. And I realized, and we had again a story that at some point we would, live together. He had teenagers at the time. I had very little kids. Nobody was moving to where the other one lived. Like, that was not going to happen, and we knew that. And we just kind of, but it was light. It was like, this is really cool. We're really grateful for this. Like, let's follow this. Um, and the funny thing is that still to this day, here we are, like, more than 13 years later, and we still don't live together. We travel a lot, and we circulate the globe together, and not together as well. And we don't see each other all the time. In fact, more of the time we're not together than we are together. But when we are together, it's amazing. And we actually realized that what was true for us, and I realized that what was true for me, is that I didn't actually desire to live with a partner full time, like, actually ever. And lo and behold, I never have. um, so that was a really interesting awareness for me. But I had been lying to myself, and I had been lying to myself the whole time, and getting frustrated because it wasn't showing up. And it was when I actually started to look from a different perspective and realize, oh, wait a minute here. That's actually not what I did. Like, I never desired that in the first place. No wonder I never created it. Good on ya. Like, having my own back in a way. It was so cool to see, wow, I actually have created what I've desired to create. And so desire is this, like, it has this, like, incredible energy of guiding us into, and especially when we're conscious about what it is and we're telling ourselves the truth about what we desire, it has this way of showing us, opening doors for us with our choices. And I know for me, like, if I'm not moving in the direction of what I truly desire, I am miserable. I am so unhappy when I'm not moving in that direction. And when I am, it's like doors just open, and more and more and more and more and more and more. It's an amazing universe of to function from, and it requires a lot of courage to function from that universe. It requires a lot of presence with ourselves to keep checking in about what we desire so that we're not functioning from everybody else's desires, which is what a lot of us do. And it requires a lot of letting go, of being normal, average, real, the same as everybody else, and really, onto this like different path that opens itself up in front of us all the time. So, and I think this is where I will probably, as I said, this is a quickie. So I think this is where I'll probably pause because the how of it, like how do you create what you desire? How do you get clear on it? How do you create it? That's a very in-depth exploration. It's a lifelong exploration. And of course I will keep going, maybe I'll do some future podcasts about this as well. But I'd like to, actually, I'll commit to that right now. Like, and then I'll do I like doing these little series, so I'll do, I don't know, at least the next one, I can think of something I'd like to do on next week's, but what I would like to say is that the tools of access consciousness have, really dynamically, they've like I've never like encountered a set of tools that are as pragmatic as these tools are, and highly energetic and very kind of weird and wonderful, very magical, that have allowed me to create things that I never imagined that I could create, like really never imagined, but desired, it was like desired, but was like, I have no idea how. So probably isn't possible. That's what most of us do. I don't know how, so it's probably not possible. Well, what if it is? And so the and so that, like any access consciousness class that you can take, or conversation or podcast or whatever you can tap into, will probably give you some awareness about, there's so many different tools. The Access Consciousness Foundation class is absolutely, to me, like the absolute like essence of the tools. The most powerful, most dynamic tools of access are woven into this beautiful 3.5-day class that for me, changed my whole reality. There was pre-foundation and post-foundation for me in my life. A new era once I took that class. And so that I highly recommend. And there is actually a Global Foundation class coming up with Gary Douglas and Dane here in Prague in May. This is 2024, depending on when you're hearing this. I also have one in a couple weeks in Boulder at the end of March. So again, you might have missed it, but foundation classes are amazing for giving you some of these basic tools that really work. And then I also have a 6-month virtual intensive that I do with people called Tending the Biome, along the lines of the entrepreneurial biome, where we really look at this. That's the starting point. Is we have a 90-minute session where we look and we go, okay, let's look at every area of your life, your body, your family, money flows, business, whatever you do in your life and living, all the things that you're creating, all the things that you're up to and involved with. What would you really love that to be? And we get really clear, and also acknowledge that it will evolve over time, because that's one of the big things, is that it always changes. So you have to stay present, checking in with this, every day, really. It's like, it's your life. You may as well check in with it every day. Otherwise, what else are you doing? And as you do, and then we spend 6 months doing private sessions, one-on-one. There's supportive audios that give you a lot of they're unique to this Tending the Biome series. So they've been created specifically for this 6-month immersion, online immersion. And we really get into like supporting you on an almost weekly basis in the creation of what it is that you're asking for. It's 3 private sessions a month, basically, with me for 6 months, and text support and all of that good stuff. So there's some really cool ways to tap into this, and to, if you really would like to go for it in the creation of what you desire, there's so many resources out there available to you. My stuff is on my website, heathernichols.com, and there's accessconsciousness.com. So what do you truly desire, and what is the gift of that? And what would it take to get so clear about that? Because when you are clear and you're moving in that direction, things open up and unfold in front of you all the time. Like, it opens door after door after door after door. Creation becomes so easy because you're aligned, you're congruent with where it is that you're going. You're not going in a direction that you don't actually want to go. You're going in a direction that actually truly works for you. So more soon. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.